Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Wanted to talk a little bit about the transfer portal as things kind of get wrapped up. I don't think we're going to see much more action. Of course, you've still got the Central Florida wide receiver out there, Jalen Robinson. He is set to make his decision on the 15th, just a couple of days away. But I really think that one is trending more towards Ole Miss or maybe Miami. You know, it sounded like at one point it was coming down to Tennessee and Ole Miss. And then I don't really know how hard Tennessee pursued. Again, you look at the wide receiver room. Tennessee's got a lot of talent. There's some question marks there. There's some questions as far as experience and playing time, but they have a room full of talent. I don't know how far they wanted to go with Jalen Robinson in terms of NIL, and I find it interesting that suddenly Miami kind of comes into the mix. I don't know, just outsider looking in, I don't know if this is a leverage, an NIL play, a bidding war to try to get Miami in the mix, to get more money out of Ole Miss. I don't know. That is all speculation, but again, his announcement is set to come in a couple of days. Also, Tennessee still in the mix for the running back out of Sam Houston, Ramon Jefferson, so we'll keep you guys up to date on that one as well. But as you kind of get into it and look at it, really not a whole lot of targets out there at this point. So the point of this video, did Josh Heupel, did this coaching staff pass or fail in the transfer portal going into the 2022 season? We go back to this before the spring started, and you know, we were all asking, where is the talent? We thought Josh Heupel was going to dive into the portal, rebuild this roster. We saw it last year. A lot of nice pieces added to the puzzle last year. You know, guys like Dejon Terry, Caleb Tremblay, Brandon Turnage. Tennessee did a good job in the portal last year, so we expected the same this year. Well, then the truth kind of came out. Tennessee was playing the numbers game, self-imposed scholarship restrictions prior to the spring, so they were going to wait till they got through the spring, and then we thought business was going to pick up. But not to make excuses, but the reality of the situation is it seems like the more talented guys, the game changers, the guys that were going to come in and make an impact, seem to enter the portal prior to spring. And then I think what we're seeing with this second wave of talent, we're still seeing some playmakers out there, but the majority of these guys going into the portal after spring, it's more about lack of playing time at their current school, being buried on the depth chart. There's not a whole lot of guys that you could bring in that are going to be difference makers. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to look at the transfer portal, and I want you guys to hit the comment section and give me a grade for this coaching staff, pass or fail, and then break it down and tell me why. But before we get going, as always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not on here trying to be something that we're not. We are fans just like you. This is for the fans, by the fans. So if you like what we do, make sure you subscribe, click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. So let's take a look at 24/7 Sports. Not really going to look at the guys that transferred out as much as the guys that transferred in, because really, as far as impact players, I don't think Tennessee got hurt at all. I think the only player that truly hurt Tennessee was Tyon Evans, and maybe that's a locker room issue, a culture issue. Him transferring to Louisville really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I really want to focus on the guys that are coming in. It starts with Gerald Mincey, offensive tackle, transferred in from Florida. And when you look at the offensive line, I really think they have the potential to be pretty good. The only player you really have to replace is Cade Mays, and you're going to have Gerald Mincey, and you're going to have Jeremiah Crawford, who competed during the spring. We heard some good things. Heard some good things about both of those guys. I don't know who steps up and wins the job, but overall, I think Tennessee has some talent. You're hearing some really good things about Darnell Wright. But how deep are they? How good is the depth? What happens if Cooper Mays gets banged up? What happens if Darnell Wright gets banged up? I'm concerned about the depth. And when you look at the misses, you had the Tyler Steen. You know, they got him on campus for an unofficial visit. He's a guy that, in my opinion, could have really made a difference. I think he would have came in. I think he would have started. But he ends up at Alabama. I think that tells you all you need to know about the talent that Tyler Steen has. But again, Gerald Mincey, the first one, nice addition back in November. And then this is something that I think gets overlooked, and that is these three guys right here. They all transferred in back in December. Again, when Tennessee, once the full story came out, Tennessee under a scholarship reduction, so numbers were limited. And I saw the jokes. I saw the comments. I saw people on Facebook making the jokes about it, talking about transfer portal and walk on you. Because these three guys, Charlie Browder, Jackson Hanna, Navy Schuler, all three brought in as walk-ons. So let the jokes begin. Let the jokes start happening. And, somebody was asking me to make a video on the transfer from ETSU, and that's why I didn't, because I feel he's a legitimate walk-on. These three guys right here are not legitimate walk-ons. You can see their star rating on the side there. That's not what they were coming out of high school. That's what they are graded in the transfer portal. Charlie Browder, tight end from Central Florida, rated as a 3-star prospect. The same for Jackson Hanna, a guy that had a position in a Power 5 program, played some special teams at Nebraska. He's a guy that's going to come in and add depth. Look, I don't know that Jackson Hanna's ever going to play any meaningful downs at Tennessee, but he's a guy that can play at Tennessee. How much work does he put in? Also, Navy Schuler. Absolutely love this one. Love Navy Schuler, son of the legendary Heath Schuler, one of my favorite Tennessee quarterbacks of all time. So much fun to see Navy Schuler out there repping that number 21 during spring practice. And again, Navy Schuler, another guy that maybe he never plays a down at Tennessee, and that's okay, but it was a good job by not only this coaching staff, but a good job by Spire Sports Group utilizing NIL to backfill this roster and add 3 nice pieces as walk-ons. But guys, they are not walk-ons. So let's roll on up here and take a look. Brew McCoy there listed, and again, you talk about the hits and the misses with Brew McCoy. The name that comes up is Isaiah Nair, the kid from Wyoming. And, he had an official visit at Tennessee, everything. He commits to Tennessee, and then he flips, ends up at Texas. People talking about NIL. I think there was more to the story than that. There's some things of reasons he wanted to be closer to home. But when you look at Isaiah Nair versus Brew McCoy, who would you rather have? Who do you think is a better option there? I think both guys have talent, but both guys also have question marks. Isaiah Nair, coming from Wyoming, he got it done at Wyoming. He put up some good numbers in 2021. I think he had close to 900 yards, but can he get it done in the SEC? Can he get it done with the big boys? And then you flip over to Brew McCoy. I think the athleticism is there. I think the ceiling is probably higher than Isaiah Nair. But Brew McCoy's only played one football season in 3 years. So which guy, did Tennessee come out better in this one, or did they come out worse in this one? But something that a lot of us talked about was Tennessee needs help on the defensive side of the ball, and they need help bad. And I don't know, they didn't add any pieces. They seemed like they were targeting edge rushers. Seems like there was a lot of guys that they were trying to get in the boat. Mitchell Lagude is one guy that is worth mentioning. Obviously, going back prior, Jared Verse is a guy that they missed on. They didn't really add anybody there. Linebacker position, go back to Jackson Hanna, but they could have. I personally feel like they need more help at linebacker. Most of you seem to feel the same way. A lot of comments about adding linebackers and adding guys in the secondary. Maybe this coaching staff is confident with their linebackers. Last year they ended up having to start Jeremy Banks and Aaron Beasley side by side. Now Beasley's got a lot of playing time under his belt, and he is going to help you add depth. What do we get out of Juwan Mitchell? What do we get out of Juwan Mitchell and Jeremy Banks? When Juwan Mitchell transferred in, he talked about himself and Jeremy Banks controlling the middle and wrecking havoc. Are we going to get that? Are we going to see that Juwan Mitchell? Are we going to get the guy that led Texas in tackles? Or are we going to get another mediocre season? Does he buy in? That's the biggest question mark. But in my opinion, the staff saw him throughout the spring. Do they feel he's bought in? Do they feel confident? Do they feel good about where they're at the linebacker position? Move into the secondary, add a couple of nice pieces with Andre Turrentine, and then also Wesley Walker, the commit from Georgia Tech. You can see they're both ranked as 3-star prospects, but I think they do a good job adding depth. Somebody's got to replace Theo Jackson. Absolute stud at that star position. Do they move Brandon Turnage there? I've mentioned it multiple times how good he looked when Theo Jackson was out. Or do you use Brandon Turnage as a legit corner to try to replace Alontae Taylor? This secondary was so beat up, so banged up throughout the spring. We really don't know what we've got or where they're going to be. What about Christian Charles, a guy that they're talking about he could step up and win a corner position? So the fall camp is going to be very interesting to watch for this secondary, again, because there are just so many question marks. But there, 24/7 Sports has Tennessee ranked 46th overall in the transfer portal. So hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Give me a pass or fail on Josh Heupel and this coaching staff for the transfer portal, and let me know why. Also, make sure you smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. And go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' VAWLS. Any and all support greatly appreciated. Check out the brand new Beat Bama, Beat Florida, and Beat Georgia shirts. Just got my Beat Florida long sleeve t-shirt in the mail yesterday. Oh man, love it. Love that premium long sleeve t-shirt. Very good quality. I say it every time we put out a shirt, but this might be my favorite design we've done today, to date. But go ahead, check it out, bonfire.com/store/talkinvols. That's going to do it for this one. Don't forget to join me tomorrow night around 5 o'clock. I'll let you guys know the time once we get it ironed out for a little NCAA 2013. We'll talk some ball football. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.